afternoon. So we're going to try and restart the channel again, and it's been a wonderful journey for the last, I would say, 8 to 10 years now, as we've taken this incredible trajectory forward along the spiritual pathway. And last year we tried to start the channel and move forward, and there was a lot of interference from external sources, and so we're doing it again. Today I come to you because last night I had a great conversation with an interesting gentleman that I've met, and he said to me, he said, "I want to tell you something that I'm picking up on." And I thought, well, whatever, man. But he said, you're a preacher. And I laughed a little bit because in my past life, I was in fact a assistant pastor's wife. And I use that term loosely. The exact semantics in that particular denomination was different, but that's what it amounted to. My ex-husband and I led a married ministry. And so was I a preacher? I suppose so. I do hold a ordination in ministry, and I don't use it. I do enjoy speaking. I do enjoy teaching people everything that I know about how you manage your spiritual journey. However, I don't resonate in any way, shape, or form around Judeo-Christian religiosity, and I find it very wounding for so very, very many people, including myself. That said, I do find infinite grace and mercy for people who, of all walks of life, and that is why I have a hard time with aligning under any denominational objective, because they preach one thing very often and don't live it. Now, that said, I've had experience to know some people who actually walked the walk that they talk, and that's very encouraging. But even outside of denominational religion, you find people talking love and talking equal opportunities and that sort of thing, and yet they're not doing it either, because we want to sit in condemnation on the religious, and yet we're doing the same stinking thing against them. And that, as you might have picked up on, bothers me just as bad. You can't criticize what you think is wrong in someone else and then do it towards them and consider yourself better than. And so it requires a balance. If I say I am love, which I do, then I must be love towards all people. I must be that which I say I am. And so how do we reach that space? I don't know. I think a lot of people, myself included, have got to go inside and start being very introspective and say, what is it that I am? Who am I? And what is it that I am going to stand for? And how am I going to present myself as the change that I wish to see, as the cliche goes? And so then when you step into that space, then you will become what you want to see, and your world all around you will change, and you will become, as some folks have talked about, the lighthouse for others to change. The other side of that is you will also become the lighthouse that shines itself into darkness, and the darkness does not want to be seen, and it will become uncomfortable, and it will remove itself. Sometimes that's unpleasant. I also had that experience this week. Wonderful people in my life are coming in and making their presence known and their generosity of heart known to me, and yet they cannot stand in my space because I don't tolerate lack of communication. I don't tolerate lack of love. I don't tolerate these things, and it makes me insanely frantic Who are you to sit in my space and not be kind, to not be considerate, to not be generous towards other people? So I think that's kind of the way we're going to take this channel, and we're going to talk about love and what does it mean to be love and what does it mean to be kind to other people. I do resonate in use of tools to help with that, and so I'm going to use the oracle cards and the tarot cards, and I'm going to talk about astrology and the energies and how they move and affect us. I am a Pisces sun sign, which doesn't tell you anything except that I am a Caucasian female with blonde hair. That's the gist of that. But if I tell you that I'm a Pisces sun sign with a Sagittarius rising, and I have my Mercury sitting in Aries and my Mars sitting in Virgo, that gives you a heck of a lot of information about me if you know anything about astrology. And the one thing that comes very clear is, as a Sag rising, I am all out front. What you see is what you get. And it's a little overwhelming for a lot of people. And they're like, what, back up. And I used to be afraid of that, and I don't make any apologies anymore. The other thing that combines with that and makes it even over the top is that Aries Mercury. Mercury in Aries says everything that they're thinking, and it's very direct and it's very straightforward, and and you can say the same thing to me and I don't get my feelings hurt, generally speaking. And if I feel something funny about it, I'm going to say, oh, that felt off. Did you mean that? It's no big deal. And I don't understand why it's a big deal for you. So these are things I have to work with in myself, and learning how other people, little one wants to join us for the party. hang on. Let me make him comfortable. So, this is Teddy, everybody. Teddy is my 12-year-old Lassapoo, and he is just a joy most of the time. I call him my geriatric puppy because he's diabetic with kidney failure and heart failure, and we don't know how much longer he has, but he's with us. So what I will say is we're going to talk about all these things, and if it's offensive to you, then this isn't your channel. If it's something that you can resonate with, then you'll enjoy it. I am also identifying as a twin flame, the divine feminine half of a twin flame couple. And I will tell you that as I sit here today, we are in full 5-dimensional spiritual, in other words, union. That's been in place for a while. And those of you who are on this twin flame journey understand that that's the case. And we are also currently in a 3-dimensional physical realm union as well. Union defined by connection. I'm going to call it connection as opposed to union, because union carries the idea that for twin flame people who are still on their journey, that somehow we've now come into some kind of romantic entanglement and we're going to be back together forever and all of that kind of thing. And the reality is we are going to be in connection probably through the rest of our lives, but if you understand the twin flame journey correctly, you understand that doesn't mean you're going to have a romantic entanglement with that individual for the rest of your life, because the twin flame journey is about someone coming into your world and shining a light on all things that you are doing great and all things that you need to change. It is change related. It brings transformation, and sometimes you come back together and sometimes you don't. The point is that you will change and you will transform and you will both be different. And sometimes we get into these situations where all we want to do is be back in connection with this wonderful, loving partner. The passion was off the charts, and this and that and the other, and that's all we can think about. And we forget about all the lessons that it brought, and all the ways that we can change, and all the ways that we can grow. And this gentleman and I have been talking to each other now for several months, since November. Well, it's been refreshing to see that not only was my life dramatically transformed to understand greater depths of unconditional love, but so was his. And to hear this soul partner of mine speak words of affirmation to me, to have him render to me respect that I have never ever had from any man on this planet, including himself prior to recently, is a phenomenal blessing. It is a blessing of the journey. It is the gift of Saturn, if you will. Once you've done your work, here's your giftie. And ironically, it comes at a time as I begin my second Saturn return. It is the universe saying, here you go. Good job. You did the work, and here's your gift. Now get busy, because as the gentleman I talked to last night said, you have a purpose. Whether you want to like the terminology I'm using or not, you are off track, woman. You have a mission. You are supposed to be doing something. And that is the part that resonated with my soul more than him saying, you're a preacher. It was, you have work to do and you are off focus. And so I would ask all of you listening, where are you at? Are you off focus? And how do you need to get back on focus? And so with that, I'm going to pull some cards, just a general read around how do we get on focus. In fact, I'm just drawn to some cards my daughter pulled before she left town to go back to New Orleans about a month ago. She's was visiting, and she just left these on my table, and it just I don't even need to pull. This is amazing. So apparently the universe was using her as a future message. Gratitude. You fully appreciate the invaluable lesson that life lovingly presents to you. And that's a very beautiful card. This is a card, this is from the Love Oracle. And I love these cards. They're very, very beautiful. So, gratitude. Virtue. You acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourage others to grow. That's very poignant for me, because right now it is time for me to step into my purpose, into my mission, and acknowledge the loving gifts that I have that help others to grow. Every time I sit and have a conversation with someone and they walk away saying, thank you for that. I was helped. And in fact, I will share, last Saturday I did some readings out at our local energy shop, and you know, it's probably the most rewarding thing for me. And it takes me back to when my ex-husband and I led in a married ministry. These were the rewarding times when I would sit with people and we would talk about heart things. How do I move my heart into a space that makes me feel alive, that makes me feel in alignment with Source? Whether you label Source God, whether you label it Source, whether you label it Universe, whether you just say it's my higher power, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You don't have to get offended and say, well, I don't believe in God, I'm atheist. Okay. I'm probably atheist also. I'm not an atheist. I may not be even a deist. I don't know. I'll have to go research the terms again and see if I align under any of them. What I am, though, is a person who believes in that there is something that is, was, and always will be, and that is whether we could go into the space and say it's just energy. Okay, align with it. Get in alignment and see what happens for you. Be more positively focused. When something negative comes against you, don't sit in that nasty, ugly energy. It will mess you up. I can tell you that. I had a very uncomfortable day yesterday because I was sitting in that ugly energy. I was not happy. I was uncomfortable. A person in my life was being very, very disrespectful to me, and I was letting myself take it away. Let's go with this. Mm-mm. I promised myself I would never let that person take me into that space again, and I did. Right? He's like, yes, you did. I did. I have to pardon him. He's blind too, so now he's like, what is all this mess? What is all this? Action. You have the courage to express the unique, loving colors of your soul. You have the courage. Universe isn't saying right there, get the courage. Universe just said, you have the courage. Now get with it, activate it, and get going. Thank you.